Hi guys, welcome back to my channel, and today I'm going to be sharing some of my club ideas, how Star Stable could add to clubs and kind of just like make them more fun and have more people join a club, because if you saw Star Stable's Instagram, only 16% of players are in a club, and I think that's kind of like, I don't know how much I can believe that, because I feel like every player I see in game has a club name underneath their character name. But anyways, apparently that's true, and so I think with some of these ideas it would be easier to find a club and also just more fun and have more activities that are like from them that you could like interact with. Okay. And also, at the end of this video, I kind of just wanted to rant about the social scene and how I think that could be improved upon. So for my first idea for clubs, it would be to add competitions between clubs. I think clubs can make official teams, because some of them already have like official dressage teams. I don't know if anyone follows clubs on Instagram. I just see a lot of their like posts that are recommended to me, and some clubs do already have these teams, so I think competitions would be held weekly for them to compete in, and these competitions would have a set of rules and requirements to enter. So certain horses, dressage horses, show jumping horses, and just like certain horses for different competition styled racing, and also certain attire that horses and players have to wear. And I think the competitions that could be hosted would be dressage, show jumping, cross country, hunter, reining, barrel racing, and cutting. There's probably a few more that I'm missing, but those are just the ones that I came up with. And I think that these competitions should be allowed to be viewed by the players who aren't competing, and possibly be judged by the players who aren't competing for like fan favorites or just like adding points to the board, because I think there should be two different ranking systems. So one done by the computer, like the practice show jumping race, where you would like get docked a mark if you hit the obstacle. I think that's how it works. And then also the other one would be judged by the players. And if there's a tie between teams, then I think another race with a harder difficulty level should decide like who wins. I would also love to see SSO add a regular championship for like Western style riding for Starshine. I think it'd be really fun to see, and maybe we could get like a new style of racing mechanics, and also kind of like a club space at Starshine for Western style clubs, because I think those exist. I don't know how many Western style clubs there are, but there must be at least like a couple that could possibly use that space if they added it. So my next idea would be a notice board in game where clubs could advertise and post events for the public to view, and yeah, just to like clean up the global chat. I feel like everyone just advertises their clubs there, and I don't know how many people actually respond to these messages, but I think a notice board would just help organize the chat, and clubs and people who want to join a club could go see the notice board, and clubs could like take off their advertisement or just put more on there. And I think one club notice board would have to be in Moreland for non-star riders, and also because the club NPC is there, and also one at Silverglade Manor or the Village, because I think a lot of clubs would be there, and also the riding club hall is in Silverglade Village. And I would also add a notice board for flat shows, fashion shows, role plays, hide and seek, and any other like mini game that players created themselves. I think it would just also be easier for people to see and join, because it would just be on the notice board. I would also add an icon on the screen or like on the menu bar, just so it's easier to access, so you don't have to go to Silverglade or Moreland if they did add these notice boards. So for my next idea, I would add a color scale to customize certain clothing items in game, so players could create like a unique outfit for their clubs, or if they did add the competition idea, for their teams. So I would make this a paid feature to buy with star coins, and I think having these different colored clothing items that could be customized for like competition items, you could tell the clubs apart during competitions if they did that idea. For my next idea, I would add a separate show jumping arena, cross country arena, and western arena for clubs to use, like the current riding arena, or I think it's like technically a dressage arena, but I would add those styled arenas to the current club area so clubs could have more like spaces to use for like practices or hangouts and just to have fun. So my last two quick ideas would be framing your own club pictures in the riding hall. I think that would just be so cute that you could like have all your teammates and or club members in like a photo while you're having a meeting. I don't know what people do in clubs. I haven't actually been in a club before, so I think people actually use that space. I just think it'd be fun to frame your own photos that you take in game, and also have normal races for clubs only. I think it would also be really fun. So for the chat, I'm just gonna list what I think Star Stable could do for it, and then at the very end have a rant about my feelings, because I have a lot and I've just been struggling to put my words out, and I think if I do that at the end of the video, it'll just be easier. So yeah, the first way is having adult servers, and I think this is just obvious why adults and kids shouldn't be on the same servers, because kids like shouldn't be exposed to certain conversations that adults have, and also there's just awful people in the world who will take advantage of younger people, and that has unfortunately happened in Star Stable. I'm not going to get into it because I find it quite triggering, but if you want to go like listen to it, there's tons of other videos that you can watch. And I think another thing that Star Stable could do is having live moderators in game, and I think they could have like volunteers that people could, if they wanted to, volunteer to help moderate the chat in game. And I think for this, these people should obviously be vetted and like properly looked into so the wrong person doesn't moderate the chat, and having like a training program for these volunteers to make sure like it's happening properly. I think another thing that they could do to help improve the social aspect of the game is putting out like quarterly or monthly safety, like online safety rules, and just how to keep yourself safe online. So they already have these safety pages, but it's actually like hard to find them. And I know when you sign up for Star Stable, you don't have to read those, and I think it should be mandatory to read them before you join the game and sign up. And I think they could also post these pages on their Instagram. I just think it's so important for Star Stable to do their part in keeping their younger demographic safe. And this might be a hot take, but I think parents also need to do their own safety looking into things, because the internet has grown a lot and we now have so much information about it that it's easier to keep yourself safe online. So I think that they need to do their part in keeping their kids safe online. So yeah, and I also just think for players that we need to remember that there's another person on the other side of the screen, and not being so mean to each other. I think if someone's still watching this video, you're probably not one of the people who are being mean to others. Hopefully you're not, but yeah, and just like saying inappropriate stuff in chat and like inappropriate horse names. I feel hopeful that Star Stable is going to improve their chat soon, because they did actually start banning cheaters, which I think everyone just thought that they were bluffing and trying to get people to stop on their own. But yeah, I feel quite hopeful that they're going to look into the chat. These are just my own ideas. I don't know if they're actually doing that, but I think it's like the next big issue in the game that is like having people have like awful times in the game. So yeah, and if someone is like harassing you or bullying you online or in Star Stable, ignore them and report them. I'm so grateful that Star Stable has the ignore feature, and I haven't had to use the ignore feature, but it is there, and just report them and go about your time in Star Stable, because it should be like a happy, fun game that you can play to, like, you know, block out the real world in a healthy way. So yeah, let me know what you think and what you think of this video and what you think of this rant, and maybe like some other ideas that Star Stable could fix their social scene. There's probably a lot more ideas that are out there. These are just the ones that I thought of at the time of recording this, and I will talk to you guys in the next video.